I'm a big fan of Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, and if you're like me and you're a fan of the band, you realize that there are several different versions of Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, ranging from the version that started with Ronnie James Dio all the way up to the final version with Doogie White. In between those versions, there was an incarnation with Lynn Turner and one with Bonnet. So Rainbow has kind of been all over the map as a band, but I want you to listen in here to something that Ritchie Blackmore said about the version of Rainbow with Lynn Turner as lead singer. Let's listen in to what Ritchie Blackmore said right here, and then stay tuned to hear something that Roger Glover had to say about the different versions of Rainbow. Here's Ritchie Blackmore speaking right here.
I think I wrote with Joe one of my favorite tunes, which is Street of Dreams. That to me was the ultimate Rainbow song. I love that song. You know, it would come on the jukebox and I go, I'm proud of that, you know, because it was exactly where I wanted to go. You know, whereas, you know, of course I'd hear Stargazer and Gates of Babylon. That was great too, but it was kind of edgy, you know, whereas this was smooth and poppy. And the fact that I could kind of write something that was poppy was something new for me, you know, and I liked that groove.
Okay, what we can gather from that is that the shift toward a more commercial and pop sound in Rainbow was not only deliberate on Ritchie Blackmore's part, but that he had a specific musical vision that he was trying to accomplish. Now, I have a couple things I want to say about that turn in style and about what I think motivated it and how it turned out and all that. But first, let's listen into something that Roger Glover had to say about the shift from the early sound of Rainbow to the Lynn Turner version that Ritchie Blackmore was referencing in the previous audio clip. Let's listen into Roger Glover right here.
And Ritchie was in the same studio, and he said, I got to play you a song, Stargazer. Full blast. I was blown away. That was like a masterpiece. I was staying at Bruce's house one day, and he played me a song, Since You've Been Gone. He said, well, Ritchie wants to do it. I said, get out of here. After what he's done, especially with Rainbow Rising, how could he want to do this?
So I'm sure there's quite a few people who feel the same way as Roger Glover, that the early hard rock sound of Rainbow is the defining sound of the band, and that there was absolutely nothing wrong with what they had going on, particularly in the Stargazer type period, even on through the Long Live Rock and Roll, when they had Bob Daisley and Cozy Powell as the rhythm section. I think that Ronnie James Dio and Ritchie Blackmore made an incredible combination, and Ritchie Blackmore is on record talking about how excellent Dio was at coming up with lyrics for whatever kind of music that Blackmore presented him. So I think that the early Rainbow is just an incredible example of what we would typically think of as classic hard rock. And that is where I want to start my commentary, which is the shift that Ritchie Blackmore made clearly was due to his own personal motivations and ambitions and tastes, and for whatever reason, he wanted to do something that he hadn't done before, would be one of the things on his mind, I'm sure. But the shift was not only good from that perspective, that it was fulfilling an artistic need for Ritchie Blackmore. But if you think about it, at the time that Blackmore shifted Rainbow from a hard rock kind of stadium band to a pop rock commercial radio band, the hard rock stadium era was dying out anyway. So he was kind of getting ahead of the game. I don't think that that's why he was doing it. I think he genuinely wanted to make a polished piece of pop, considering he's on record saying that ABBA is his favorite band. But it just so happens that that kind of music was sort of dying out anyway, and Rainbow was a quintessential example of a hard rock stadium band. My last observation is that the shift that Rainbow made from the Dio era to the Lynn Turner era is one of the most dramatic yet most successful shifts that any band that I can think of has ever made. One that's sort of comparable would be the shift that Van Halen made from the David Lee Roth era to the Sammy Hagar, but In terms of Rainbow, I think the shift was even more dramatic than what took place with Van Halen, because I think there were seeds of the later Van Halen present on early albums, even like Diver Down, whereas Rainbow never seemed like they had the potential to become a polished pop band. This is one of the reasons why I love Rainbow so much, is because Blackmore was able to make that successful shift. But push comes to shove, I think I prefer the Dio era Rainbow to any other incarnation, although I think I like them all. So what I'd like to know from you is, what do you think? Do you agree with Ritchie Blackmore that the polished commercial sound was the better incarnation of Rainbow, the part that he's more proud of? Or do you think that the earlier stuff with Dio, Stargazer, and Man on the Silver Mountain, that type of sound, was the better version of Rainbow? Leave your thoughts in the section below. As I say, I prefer the earlier Rainbow, but I kind of like it all. This is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below. And remember to like and subscribe. Also, if you're enjoying the channel, check out the thanks button right down there below, or you can use the Buy Me a Coffee link to leave a donation at the Buy Me a Coffee site. Thanks a lot.